issues we're paying for the lights, a little more security issues. It's a little more difficult for me to schedule bathrooms, things like that, so I have to pay sometimes a little bit more for that. With them playing continuous and having such a big group, I do pay a lot more for trash and such on the weekends that they're here. And then on the flip side, we've had a few event organizers who have just completely fizzled out on us. One who was supposed to be here this weekend seems to think that he's going to come and run a tournament with just all our local teams. And I'm like, you need to bring teams and we'll like add a few in, but we can run our own events, you know. So I'm trying to work with that individual because he's had 3 now that have kind of fizzled out, and ask him, I have to have a heart-to-heart with him to see if he seriously wants to relinquish the other dates that he has to other events, or if he really thinks he's going to go forward with them. So, did that answer the question?
Yeah, and he pays the full.
All of them so far have paid the full. So if you're having a Friday, Saturday, and Sunday tournament, you'll pay $100 per day per field. So you'll pay about $1,200 plus any other field groomings are extra. So we have 1 field grooming at the beginning of each day. And so we have a few extra costs, but most of these teams if they're 2 days, we'll pay $800. If they're 3, they'll pay about $1,200. So if you want to kind of use that as a base for what the other events are paying.
And how much is this one because it's night?
With the night, and the thing is yeah, it's continually all the way through, it's about $3,600 when you use our current fee schedule,
So,
So it's quite a bit more.
so
was part of this group. So he originally had it waived free, and then the next year it was, the council chose to add a little bit more on and add that security deposit because we'd had some issues, I think, with trash. That was the year before I got here. And then every year, council has just kind of slowly increased it up. So that's the basis of it in the
And how much is
past.
it now, Lynn? How much?
was it?
Yes, that's refundable. We walk the fields before, and then we meet them there to get the keys at the end of the event and just do a quick once-over. And then we do a little bit more stronger once-over when the staff actually gets there on Monday.
Okay.
And then after that, we refund the difference. So
How
this
did
is
they fare on their deposit return?
the 2 years that I've been here, 19 and 20. It is an all-night alcohol drinking fest. So alcohol is a big part of adult softball.
And do we allow glass containers, bottles down there?
No, sir.
Okay.
No, that's clearly marked, and it is on the permits that we give all of them, no glass allowed.
And they've been pretty good about respecting the facility and, considering how many teams show up and they're adults,
So-
the maintenance is pretty low.
If I was an event coordinator and I happened to participate in this event, I would have some interest in wanting to negotiate the price again because you're giving somebody else a
Break.
break.
Yeah, up until this year, we really haven't ran into that, but this year with the booking of the facility like we've seen it, like I said, it does create a little bit more of a conundrum in that regard.
And you have to remember too, it's August and they start at 6 at night and they go all night long. So you're not gonna get a teenage tournament that goes till 6 in the morning. They're playing when it's cool, like all night.
Discussion?
Yeah. Quick question.
Yes.
On the alcohol, who has the alcohol permit? We do?
City manager has the ability to approve alcohol on our park premises.
Okay.
They provide their own. They don't do sales.
Right.
Okay.
Right, no sales.
So you have an estimate here for your expenses, our expenses that we need to offset with the fees?
Yeah, and this 450 is actually the trash, and I don't think I worded that well. So we'll do about 3 different bathroom cleanings at about $50 a piece, so 150, and then we pay about another $300 in the dumpsters. We do have a lot of people who bring RVs, but the RVs are there because they're playing all night, and then they might play at 1 o'clock and maybe about 8 or 9, and then my crews come in. So we do have extra fees for staff to have to come on the weekends to do the groomings. We've had that with all of the tournaments, though. So if you take, the nice thing about this one is we're not on the gun to, like say, a tournament that has the first game at 8 o'clock. I usually have crews out there at 5 a.m. And so between 5 and 7, and then we'll we'll water throughout the rest of the day, and then we'll chalk right before they get there. So we have those fees, we have the, pretty much the bathroom and then the trash or the other ones, just based on the size of this one.
So based on our cost, just looking at our cost,
Tim had ran numbers before on what every person who comes into town, how much tax revenue we get on every person that goes out to eat or goes to the bar, or a lot of these, they do have, hotel rooms. So not everyone is coming in an RV. They usually have like maybe one RV per team, I think, so that they have a place to kind of congregate until they play, because, if you had a 2:30 game and then a 3:30 game back to back, you kind of need a little break.
Well, if they were playing during the day, it'd be $1,200. Take a look at that. If they, I think the $1,500, they spend a lot of time down there by themselves, But like Lynn said, they have been very respectful of our facility. So if you were considering something, a $1,200 fee rather than $1,000, that brings them up to what it would be if it was a day event.
Yeah.
I like round numbers, so I'm going to make a motion to approve the Full Moon Classic softball tournament for the weekend of July 30th and a damage deposit of the same $1,500, which will be returned in full in the event of no damage to the facility and all trash and debris picked up.
Second.
Second.
we have a motion and multiple seconds. Any further discussion, question? Call for the question. All in favor of the motion and clean, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously of
Thank you for
members
making
present.
that decision.
Thank you.
We knew that's what you wanted.
You read my mind, huh, Rich?
Just didn't want to be responsible.
Discussion possible action by City Council pertaining to page. Clerk, would you introduce 126521?
A resolution of the Mayor and City Council of the City of Page, Coconino County, Arizona, adopting the recommendations of the Page Utilities Board to continue the rate, fees, and charges of services rendered by Page Utility Enterprises without change.
Motion or discussion? Hearing or seeing none, call for the motion. All in favor of Resolution 1265-21 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries of all members. Thank you. Discussion possible action by City Council to, Madam Clerk, would you introduce Resolution 1267-21?
A resolution of the Mayor and City Council of the City of Page, Coconino County, Arizona, adopting updated fees for the consolidated fee schedule.
Motion and multiple seconds to adopt Resolution 1267-21. Any further question or discussion?
I think we reviewed this in
Yeah.
a prior meeting, went through the whole thing, so I think we're good to go, personally.
Okay. Call for the question. All in favor of Resolution 1267-21 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously of all members. Discussion possible action, Transportation Safety Administration, TSA Airport Checkpoint, number GS-09P-LAZ 08982. And I believe, Kyle, are you on?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. It's a pleasure to be with you, members of the Page City Council. So we're at the end of our current lease with the Department of Homeland Security for the TSA space at the airport terminal. So this is kind of a renewal of that lease for a 5-year contract at the established rate of about $22,000 a year, if I get my notes right. So if you have any questions, I'm free to answer those questions at this time.
I see that this is their office and some storage and that they utilize.
Well, nobody does. Per federal law, you cannot charge the TSA for the checkpoint. You can charge them for the office spaces and their storage spaces and all those fees associated with it. We cannot charge them for the checkpoint.
Okay. Move to approve the lease agreement from the United States of America for the transportation 08982.
Second.
We have a motion and second. Any further question or discussion? Call for the question. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously of all members.
Thank you.
Thank you. Discussion possible acts by City Council 003. Miriam.
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, I'll go ahead and introduce this one for you here. So this
Okay.
is a subdivision here for you, and I'll run through the PowerPoint slides here really quick. Really quick.
Is it turned on?
You see the total acreage. Currently, the property stands undeveloped. Here's the site location. You see the parcels here, give or take. Some acreage size, and you could see where it's located relevant to the general plan land use map here. Its current land usage is medium-density residential, which is to the granular level on zoning. This is zone plan development residential. The intent of PDR is for unusual, innovative, or combined use developments. So the intent is to be a little bit more flexible and accommodating for those case scenarios in the residential category. So the project description here, you could see a lot about it, 127 lots, ranging from 1,400 to closer to the 7,000 square foot range here. The area is going to include a clubhouse here in the potential future with the homeowners association. It's a gated community and a mixture of one. The height would be set at 30 feet here. The item that we have here today is the proposed pre-plat, and I have a couple of boring pages here that Miriam next to me has led in terms of technical review. So you could see the actual plat layout. You could see some grading, water plans, a public works director with us. We have the engineering staff with us. We actually have the developer on the call with us today as well. We have the police department, and we have the utilities here with staff and fire as well that played a role in the technical review as well. At the end of the day, the staff recommends approval of the preliminary plat with the following conditions. You could see it on the recommendation list on your staff report there. With that being said, I pass this off to Miriam, who has done a wonderful job leading the technical review with the rest of our wonderful staff here today.
Any questions?
Yes, this was before planning and zoning. What was the discussions there?
Well, they approved it unanimously.
Pardon?
They approved it. They voted to approve.
Okay.
I can provide a little bit more information on that. So it was approved unanimously of the voting members there. There was a lot of discussion on two items. One is the ability of Ridgeway Boulevard to continue to serve that development. And there seemed to be a lot of questions about that road in itself. It's now city property, and so it's gone through traffic review in terms of this particular subdivision request, and staff and experts have looked at it and said it's okay. I do think that there still seems to be some issues just about the concept of Ridgeway Boulevard and whether it's doing the job safely for everything in terms of the sidewalks are removed, there's the median there, there's been a number of small, yeah.
Sometime.
And
You know, if we continue to have growth up there, from my understanding, that was before me, but that was meant to be a closed community, and it consequently now is not a closed community, but it's an open community. So maybe we as a community need to look at taking that medium out in the middle and widening 100%, thinking that that would not hinder their access for emergency services. So,
Do we
but
have a-
like Councilor Carey said, that may be something that Public Works wants to bring to us in the future, or Emergency Services wants to bring to us in the future to discuss.
Insofar as this is just for the common issue B20-003.
Mr. Chair, just for clarification, it's the combination and the plat. So it's the actual plat as reflected in the presentation in the packet.
Right.
So correct.
Yeah.
So
Combination.
his
That
next,
doesn't have any bearing on the roadway.
no, that doesn't have any bearing. But his next step now would be to get approval for plans and to start moving dirt. just so that everybody's understanding.
Enhancements that are drawn out in this plat are actually built. And we discussed the mechanism of how things get built. And I think the committee was happy with us using existing lines of communication and staff and meetings and the other steps still to come in this process to hammer that point home with the developer. That would be very important as this gets phased, that clubhouse and whatever else does.
They have made that commitment to make those improvements, so.
And the other things I want to note, which didn't come up at the committee, but in reviewing this package, I noticed one is that number of the existing landowners on the other side of the road in Indigo Ridge Phase 1 have approved. In their minds, they like what was going on. The developer seems to have made quite an effort this time to communicate with those neighbors. And I also note the developer has taken into account some of the comments through the last failed zoning, which was one, make sure you had access to the Rimview Trail, and two, make sure you had some park or recreation or open space to serve those people. And looks like they've incorporated that. So they seem to have done a good job with learning from the last year and moving forward to this year.
Looking at the road, because that is a major concern for some people out there, and well, actually for a lot of people out there. But when it comes to this development, I am all for them doing this. One of my concerns is not forgetting about the people who are across the street that they already made a commitment to. Or the potential of the same thing happening with this one. With this development, are we looking at, like we've done before, potentially, where we have milestones?
This is just a plat. This is not anything to do with the actual development itself.
Right.
And we don't, we're not within a certain amount of time, or they would have to come back and get another building permit, those types of things. But because this isn't a sale of city land,
Okay.
we don't really control their schedule of development,
Okay.
outside of the fact that, their building permit may expire. They'd have to come get another one, but that's it.
But we can encourage, prod, you might say, in layman's terms.
Okay, thank
which
you.
I'm not afraid to do at all.
I do appreciate you answering those. Thank you.
I'm in favor of the project, but I have some concerns. Back, do we have enough easement there to do what we may have to do before there's construction in that area? Or I remember a project called a roundabout where we went to do the roundabout and we could not meet our objective because of the sold property around it. And we had to go out there and buy.
Online, Tom, you want to go ahead and,
Iron Rock?
yes.
Yes, I'm here.
Hi,
Sorry,
Tom.
I'm in another meeting as well, so can you repeat that question?
Question is that we've had some concern from citizens as well as the P&Z board, and brought up here this evening about the road. It is an option. My concern is that do we have enough easement there to do what we would be required to do, or what would be needed to do to make it a safe road for all the because we're adding a lot more traffic in that area as well. So what I'm asking is, do we have the easement there, or might we need more easement at accessing or trying to get easement from the property owner themselves?
So they actually did a very in-depth traffic analysis of the road, even clear out to Lake Powell Boulevard and then down off the hill. And as currently set at full build out, they still meet the minimum level of service contained in level of service D or higher. And so they actually meet the national requirements on the roadway as it exists. We have the ability to come in because there are meandering sidewalks there that we can actually straighten out and gain more width in that location if we need to.
Good answer.
03 with the described development standards and subject to the following conditions. 1, the developer shall submit a title report showing no encumbrances or easements that would affect the subdivision. And 2, the maximum height of each building is 30 feet.
Second.
We have a motion and second. Any further question or discussion? Hearing none, call for the question. All in favor, the motion carries unanimously of all members. Bid awards, we have none scheduled this evening. Under departments, discussion, possible action by city council pertaining to Choice Wireless Library Internet. Is it Kane?
It is me.
There he is.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. What you have before you is a contract for fiber internet. You 5,000 megabits up and down. So if you have any questions, I think I have a bunch of background in there. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I think I'm a little ignorant here. It mentions in here from 5,000 to 500. Is that what you're talking about, the up and down?
That contract that's in there, does it say 500?
Move to approve the E-rate telecommunications service agreement with Choice Wireless and allow the city managers to sign the agreement.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Further question or discussion?
I just have a real quick question. This is just for the library?
Sounds like a politician here instead of an IT.
What they don't know doesn't hurt them.
Right, right.
Yes,
It's
it's primarily
wireless.
for the library.
Okay, okay. Thank you.
Any more questions?
That should.
Didn't- All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously of all members. Discussion possible action by city council pertaining to purchase of a used full-size sport utility vehicle, SUV.
You're looking for a used Suburban, a Ford, if we have to. But we're going to send Greg off to more conferences. And we have a trailer. Basically, we've given it over to the Parks Department to carry that. And he can head off. And he can park, he can lock things up, he doesn't have to worry about it. And then we also kind of need something for 4 full-size guys like Kyle. Basically what we're looking for, and I'm not convinced we're going to be able to find it in this market, but to give Kyle the opportunity, if he sees something come through, that he can pull the trigger and buy it. The new stuff is absolutely atrocious, but at least this will give him the opportunity to do it. And realistically, in order to do what we want to do in the next 2 years with Greg and the marketing of our community, we need some. You had mentioned that for that price, maybe we should go brand new.
Mm-hmm.
And what is brand new now? About 60?
65.
And thank you, Mayor. Our inventory is highly limited just because of the end of the fiscal year. We certainly can get a good deal on something new, but it won't be here in time to fit into this year's budget. It'll have to come out of next
How
year's
much are
budget.
you?
In Tennessee. but-
Yes.
Yeah.
5 or 7, yeah.
Yeah.
I was in Prescott on the lots down there. You can't even find a vehicle. You can't even find a brand new Toyota Tundra. You can't get them.
Yeah. So there's no, like I say, we don't know exactly what we'll get. We've got something that's reliable.
Yeah, I saw one of these as an exemplar with 100,000 miles on it.
Yeah. And we'll just pass on that stuff, we just.
Brian?
Is this, would be a new addition to our fleet?
Around, so something's gonna leave probably our lot and go somewhere else, be it to dog catcher or something like that. But, and that's just, don't say dog catcher, I'm just saying something might get moved, but that's up to Kyle.
In terms of fleet size, this is going to increase it, so to speak.
Currently, this will increase our fleet size. It doesn't necessarily mean that we have more vehicles on the road. We just have more resources to utilize. But the intent is to relieve our older fleet and recycle those either through.
Cool. Up to the amount of $45,000.
Second. Further question or discussion?
Just, one quick question. I think I mentioned this to Darren. So we call the 1-800 number that keep calling us about used car warranty. So, because, I mean, getting that
She's by the end of the week, so don't worry.
And the director of Social Security calling you too.
Absolutely.
Further discussion? Okay. Call for the question. Honestly, all members? All right. 3 executive sessions and if back out to do any remainder of business that we might have. So you can come on in with us, and then when we get to 16.3, you
I can
can,
go home.
something not right.
Consecutively.
Second.
Okay. Josh, have rules changed, or do I need to read those individually as to what they are at least about?
No, you're fine as long as it's on the agenda as to the specific section that we're going in under.
Okay, under 16.1, we're going to be in for horseshoe. And executive 16.3, parcels of land for possible sale or lease.